What is up, YouTube? This is 1809 Hector coming at you with another segment of Yu-Gi-Oh! Basics. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Basics! Yay! Oh, welcome, Telly. Oh, he stopped by. Anyways, this segment. Oh, if you didn't know, that's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card. Tee. I'm just playing. Anyways, this segment will be I will be talking about monsters, all kinds of monsters, and summoning. Is that right, Christian? Yeah, summoning. All right. First of all, we'll start with the very first cards that came to be in this game. Normal monsters. Look, Gigabyte. Now, I'm sure there's, to all those newcomers, normal monsters, for some, will rarely see play. Mainly because of the monsters that were created after that, which are, oh shit, effect monsters, which are hella better. So basically, you know, they each get a. Then they're. Hey, what color is this? What color is this? Effects. It's like an orangey kind, and normals are yellow. Basic enough. Effects have some kind of effects to them. Like this one says, once per turn you can inflict. Well, I will be talking about effects later on, but that's an effect card, which has more to it than just a normal card. Next came to be was fusion monsters, which were two monsters that came together through the card called polymerization. And later on in the future, they invented future fusion, super poly. This one monster called Earth Integra or something that makes the fusion possible and like all that stuff. So and Fusion Gate, which you know, and yeah, this is basically what fusion is. And this counts as a fusion summon, which is, and there's some cards which can only be fusion summon. There's also some that's, you know, it's kind of complicated, but I'll get to that later. Then came the ritual cards, which are. Do you even see a ritual card anymore? No, I don't. Oh, maybe it's because I only play Lightsworn. Oh, is that you, Telly? Oh, damn. I don't really use ritual either, but these are pretty sick. I like them. So basically, how you do this is you summon it with a ritual card, which is a spell card, which I will talk about that in my later segment, which will be on spells and traps. But basically, you activate it. You sacrifice. You can send from the hand or the field to the grave to bring this out, which stars have to equal, which I will talk about that later. Next, which are one of the recent upholds are synchros, which are one of my favorites. Take out your synchros, because I'm gonna use those. So like, basically, you get tuner monsters to bring this out, and they have to equal, stars have to equal the same amount, and that I will be getting to in a minute. And lastly, the newest ones, not dark, what was I gonna say? Exceeds. Exceeds, what these are basically are monsters which are no longer levels but are ranks, and you summon by overlaying, which I will talk about not right now, but in a minute. And those are the type of monsters that have come to be throughout this game, which, you know, look at the timeline. We went from normal to effect to fusion to ritual to synchro to exceeds, which is really a really big jump, because, you know, look at that timeline. It's pretty cool. And I'm pretty sure in the future there'll be more to come. And now let's get started with going into detail with one of these. Now these here are what are normal monsters, which are basically no effect, just very simple. They're monsters with their attack and their defense and all that good stuff. Now, to summon, which is a basic that has lived on forever and ever, you gotta pay attention to the stars. Like, this is one star, so basically to summon them, you just be like, I summon Gigabyte in attack mode, or which would be really stupid unless you have a plan. Or you'd be like, I set. That's the only way you can summon. Summon face up or set. You are only allowed one summon per turn. And As for special summons, I'll get onto that in a minute. But summoning is the same thing. Now, to bring out a higher power monster like Luster Dragon right here, it is 6 stars, which means it requires 1 tribute. And tribute summon is the same thing as normal summon, so you can only do 1. So let's say you summon Gigabyte this turn, you'd have to wait 1 turn to sacrifice him and bring out Luster Dragon. Which, good luck with that. I'm just fine. So anyways, so yeah, and 1 through 4 do not require a sacrifice. You can just summon or set unless effect states otherwise. Now 5 and 6 requires 1 tribute, which, you know, just sacrifice, summon. 7 and up, right? Level 7 and higher require 2 tributes unless the card states otherwise, such as Obelisk the Tormentor, the playable version, or the Wicked Avatar, Yugioh, or Winged Dragon of Ra. Who plays that shit? Like, really? And yeah, that is basically a normal monster. Next, we will move on to the effect monsters. So now comes the effect monsters, which, as you can see, they have many different types. Now these are kind of the same, but different in a way. For certain monsters have certain effects. So like, let's say Hain here, it has an effect. It has a flip effect, which you can select one monster on the field regardless of position and return it to the owner's hand. So basic flip effects have to be set first and then are flipped up. Then when you flip them, they have to be flipped in attack position. If they are attacked though, like let's say Luster Dragon attacks it, it is flipped into like that, just face up. And then its effect activates, sending Luster Dragon back to the hand, because let's say that's the only card. But Hain would still be destroyed because, you know, it's attacked, so yeah, unless it stays otherwise. And next we have tuner monsters, which actually can be which can be effect monsters, normal monsters, or even synchro monsters. But this type I will get onto when I'm talking about synchros. Next we got monsters like this that say once per turn you can inflict damage. This is what's it called, Christian? Ignition, right?
Yeah.
This is what's called an ignition effect, which you need to activate yourself. Which inflicting damage, so you know this is like a once per turn. So you basically activate it, saying ignition. You know, you start the chain basically. Flip, as for this, you know, it's just simple. Flip because of an attack, flip because it's always really light, or flip because of, you know, you flip it and it gets its effect. Next you have monsters that special summon with their effects. Now like Marauding Captain, if you haven't seen it, it's a level 3 warrior, and your opponent cannot select another warrior type monster as an attack target, and when it's summoned you can special summon a level 4 or lower monster from your hand. This brings me to the part in which I'll special summoning. A special summon is not a tribute or a normal. It's basically what it says, it's special summon. So let's say I summon this, right? I could special summon, like let's say my Gigabyte, which is special summon. Special summoning can happen as many times during the turn as possible, which right now is pretty ridiculous. And like let's say his effect is continuous. So like warrior. Okay, let's say this, right? So like Marauding Captain's effects, what's known as a continuous effect. It says your opponent cannot select another warrior. So basically these two on the field, he can't be like I attack Junk Archer because Marauding Captain's effects in play. And also, since he's his effect's continuous, it cannot be negated through cards like Divine Wrath, because it does not start a chain or an ignition like Volcanic Hammer does. But you know, this is a type that's called continuous. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about these monsters, right? Mm-hmm. Next monster shall be the fusion monster. Next monster which we will be talking about is the fusion monster, which is a purple outline on the card, and Yeah, that's about it. It's purple, aside from the other cards. And it says fusion down there. So basically how you do this is there's a card called polymerization, which I'm sorry I don't have a visual of. But basically, you know, you send two monsters from your hand or the field to the grave to fusion summon this, which is very simple. You don't even have to have them on the field. So, and this is considered the fusion summon. It's considered a special summon, which is pretty good. Now there are cards out there such as Fusion Gate, which banish them, remove them from play in order to fusion summon, which is pretty good because Fusion Gate is a field spell, which I will talk about more in my next installment. Which, you know, its effect is continuous, which is pretty good. So basically what this does, you know, it fusion monsters, polymerization or fusion, any card that says you can fusion with it can be used for this. And you also need the two right materials unless you find a way, because there's some cards, you know, they just like substitute for one or something like that. But yeah, honestly I think that's all I can say. There's also fusion normal monsters, which is basically just fusion without effects, and there's fusions with effects such as this one, which, you know, are a lot better than the regular ones. And yeah, that's honestly all I gotta say about fusions. So yeah, next on is Ritual.